Well, welcome to another Racing for Recovery podcast. I love doing these things. I have one Dustin Werner on here today. How are you, sir?
Good.
Have you pondered what you're going to say or what you think I'm going to ask you?
Oh, 100%. You had asked me to come on last week and I wasn't able to. So I've had a whole week to think about hypothetical questions, and I had all this good stuff to say before I got here that I thought you might ask, and
Out the window?
out the window.
Okay, well, let's start with this. I'm sporting a Jimi Hendrix shirt.
Yeah.
I'm wearing like concert shirts to put, because music is a part of what we
Right.
do. Do you even know who this guy is?
Yes, I know who Jimi Hendrix is.
Okay, so I figured you'd do that. Do you have a favorite Jimi Hendrix song?
Hey Joe, probably.
Right, that's true. Yeah, I was going to say the same
That's
thing.
a good
but-
one.
Right, that's a real good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. This shirt's from like when he played in Copenhagen. I wasn't there, but
Oh, you were probably about 30 years old then, huh?
oh, we're going to do that already? Okay. All right. Okay, let's do this. How long? I don't ask people this, but for our sakes and purposes, I'm going to ask you this. How long have you been on the good side of addiction?
Oh, you know I hate that question.
I know.
I'll have 2 years in June, so 20 months or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
on Father's Day, actually.
is it really this
Yeah,
year?
This year it's on Father's Day.
Cool.
So my second Father's Day, my second year sober.
And you happen to be a father.
Happen to be a father.
Talk about your son.
Oh man, he gets me through my days, man. He's amazing. It's well, you're a father, so you know all about the experience, but it's something you don't know until you know. You know, that love for another human being, and he's been a big part of my sobriety.
Does he have a name?
His name's Kai.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
good. We need to let-
say I got it tattooed now.
Dude, nice.
Yeah. So
Where'd he go?
watching him grow has been just amazing, dude. It's been a journey. It's great, dude. And I don't know.
When you were in your addiction, did you ever think you'd be talking like this?
I didn't think I'd be alive right now, probably. You know, the choices and things that I've dealt with throughout that I'm lucky to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good. Okay, so this is the question I was going to start with, but we've arrived here. Yeah, you got to get closer to that. Get your posture going.
You got a
right?
chair that
Come on,
leans back.
get
so
the
I'm-
posture going.
all right.
What do you think was the turning point for you that has allowed you to be where you're at today? Like, and I'm not talking about the day you stopped. I'm talking about really a moment where you listened, you applied, it stuck, and here you are.
That's kind of easy. I was sitting in work release for the last time, and you know, I knew I was at a crossroads, right? So it was either I can continue down this path, which is just going to lead to, you know, what's that old saying? Jails, hospitals, institutions, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that my continued use of drugs and alcohol was going to lead to there eventually. And at that time, Jennifer was 5 months pregnant or something like that, you know, so there was a lot coming up, and I needed to step up and be a man for myself. But in order to be a father, I had to get my own act together, you know, and I got sick of showering in sandals and being told what to do. I wanted to live, you know, and it's been awesome. I don't know.
Hey, were you done at that time? Did you know? Because some people have that, I call it the gift.
Yeah.
Where like they know they're done,
so, yeah.
and you were there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it had been leading up to that, right? So actually today is the 13th. So my first time here was 2 years ago on February 14th.
Really?
Right. So there was about 4 months where I was still trying to do things the way I wanted to do and wiggle and finagle my own things. And eventually it caught up to me again, you know, and that's when I'm like, you know what, I'm done. I put my hands up. And
So this is what I want to get into with you, because you know, Jennifer had messaged me, said, "Hey, I got a guy, which
Yeah.
I get a lot. Can you help?" Sure, we can. I want to talk about our conversation in the hallway.
oh, that was some months after that, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but it validates what you're talking about here. You're coming in trying to, I'm still going to run it my way or whatever, and you start learning what Racing for Recovery is doing. I want to talk to you about when we were speaking in the hallway about the whole work thing and how you just stopped and really looked at what you were doing. And from my point of view, you changed your mindset. And I'm not saying it's the total reason why you're successful today, but I know that had an impact on you. And I want the listeners to know what that was like for you.
I don't know. That was probably 2 months in, maybe not even 3 months in. And I had this amazing opportunity come up, right? So at this point here, I'm going to lay out my state of mind. So I got a son coming, and I'm freaking out, right, a little bit, because obviously he's my first son. I want to be working. I want to get my life back on track. But my track history shows that like rushing back into that just doesn't work. So this time I asked some people that have been here a while. You were one of them. I talked to you in the hallway for an extensive period of time about this amazing opportunity that I thought was going to be, which at that moment I might have thought like that was going to make everything better. And after speaking with some people, obviously I changed my mind. And I look at the whole opportunity of me being here when I was, it was good timing, really, I guess, in my life at that point. I had enough support from my family and Jennifer and people in my life that I was able not to work and be able to put 100% into this and not treating it as, a vacation or, you know what I mean? Nothing. I was here to get my life back on track. And that's what I did. I was here every day. I'd sit through IOPs and then ask to sit through other ones just because I wanted to. I'm like, look, I'm able to be here, and I might as well get everything I can while I'm here, and it's paid dividends. So,
do you think, had we just said, "Yep, you got this quote amazing opportunity," which we hear a lot, do you think if we would have let you roll with that,
I probably wouldn't have came back. I mean, I can't say that 100% sure, but I'm sure if there was like, if we were betting in Vegas, the odds of me coming back were probably far less had I went straight to work, because then that was a job. It was at Whirlpool. So, they're expecting you to be there for X amount of hours and overtime, so like I would have changed my priorities at that point. Instead of, my number one priority was getting my life back together and being sober and being here. And that would have changed everything. So do I know I would have messed up? Probably no, but I know my best chance of some sustainable sobriety was to stay here with
it's working.
It's working.
Right?
Man. Yeah.
So
life's good.
Let's do this. Let's talk about the services that you utilized at Racing for Recovery, like everything that you really worked at that we offer here, and how that's helped you be the awesome dude that you are today. What did you do?
At first, so I really didn't take this seriously until June 21st of 2000 and whatever, 2 years ago almost. So before that, I was running the gauntlet to look good, right? So I was showing up to the IOPs. I was sitting with Matt, Boston, but half the time I was in there, I was lying to him. I'd go in there for some reason, like it was gonna affect. You know what I mean? Like it's only hurting me coming in if I'm trying to talk to you about my life and I'm just lying about how great it is or something. So it wasn't until after that where I was like, look, I need to take this seriously and figure out, utilize all the tools rather. So that's when I used the one-on-ones for almost a year probably.
Yeah.
I was with Matt for a while, and then the IOPs, and then the weight room, man. And when I don't know how to say this right. So when I first came to Racing for Recovery, it's since grown, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So like when I first got here, I didn't even have I wasn't able to drive or anything. So like I spent a lot of time with some counselors, in the car, and I got to spend a lot of time with staff. Not to saying that that's not available anymore, but it was great for me to be able to spend time with, I spent a lot of time with AJ. I spent a lot of time with Steven. It was in the pool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Those
are the times, like, right. So like the IOPs and everything are great, but like where I feel like my most growth and like personal change happened was stuff like that, man. Being with other people that have been doing it or are doing this, being sober. That's what I mean when I say that. And that's where I feel like the most of my growth has came from.
So I hope people are paying attention to this, because again, it's the lifestyle styles with an S that we live by here. That's really what resonates. It's, you can come into school, the IOPs and counseling.
Right.
That's great. You get some new insight on addiction and recovery, right? But it's putting those into practice
them, right?
that makes the difference. Yeah.
Right.
Let's talk about swimming.
Yeah.
Because you had, again, I remember this stuff.
Right.
Like, tell me, like, you had 2 significant days when we were in that pool that you had some life-changing events.
Yeah. This was the first 6 months or 8 months of my sobriety was wild, man. Right. So like, it's leading up, and then I have a son, and everything is great. Like my world revolves around him. And, within 2 weeks, I lost my grandmother and my grandfather, you know? And, I remember my dad had texted me, and it was like, You're
good, bud.
It was like 4:00 in the morning, and it was the day we were gonna swim anyways, right? And so I'm reading the text message, and I'm just sitting up in bed, and like Kai's sleeping next to me, and so is Jennifer, and she wakes up, and I told her what happened, and like I'm holding my son, and like, oh man, it was I was like, I'm gonna go swim, you know, and she fully supports like everything I do pretty much. She puts up with a lot. And so I get to the pool, and I'm real adamant about even saying anything that happened. You know, I didn't want to make it seem like I was looking for pity or looking for anybody, but I knew people could read it, right? So I got there, and you were there, and Bieber was there, and he was like, "What's the matter?" And I told you what happened, and we talked for a minute, and I just got to it. And my favorite part about swimming was when your head's underwater, right? And you're swimming back and forth, and you really can't hear anything but like a little bit of water, and then you're breathing, right? So like I was using that time to just kind of, I don't know what, man. I didn't know what to do. That's the first time that I didn't run and grab a drink or something like that when I dealt with loss like that, you know? I mean, it was, it didn't make it any easier being sober, right? So, but I felt all that, man. Like, it was, I'm just glad I was here when it happened, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm glad I had people in my corner that were supportive.
Did you think I was going to ask you this?
No, I don't know. I kind of knew it might come up because it was, I mean, I feel like that can be a tipping point in some people's sobriety, right? So I kind of figured you might bring that up a little bit, you know? I mean, I'm not as scared to talk about it. I might get a little choked up. And
no, it's good. I'm asking because I remember how, like, inspired I was by that, how, dare I use the word proud I was. And I'm like, that's what we do. Yeah. That's what we do. When you go through something like that, usually, and I'm just going to be honest, the traditional ways, people, I'm out.
Right.
And they go right back to it. And then it's, oh, I relapsed. And it's like, you didn't relapse. You chose to cope with that same old crap, but you turned it around and showed up. And that was so profound. I'll never forget that. That's why I'm asking you this question, because I want other people to see that, you know? And then it happened again within 2 weeks.
Yeah. My grandfather had passed away, I think it was December 12th, you know? So that was just right after that. And then it was, here we go again, you know? And but I was like, I made it through the last one, and I didn't make a dumb choice. I was like, so
and look at
this one, right? You know, and I didn't want to. They knew what I was doing. You know what I mean? They saw they saw me doing the right thing. You know, and I didn't want to tarnish the memory of them by boozing. You know, like that wasn't gonna help anything. I can never recall a time where I was like, I'm so glad I drank a pint of whiskey last night. Like I forgot and I feel better.
Never.
You know, right? So,
does it help? Let's talk about how, like, our approach, like us doing what we do, how we don't point fingers and you need to do this or whatever. It's more of just,
it's leading by example. If I had to simplify it, you know, the staff and the people that are usually associated with Racing for Recovery have been great about that. You know, you don't feel backed into a corner so much. And that was one of the things that led me here. So Jennifer's the one who actually found out about Racing for Recovery. I think it's the whole van thing happened.
Oh, when it got stolen. Yeah.
And she must have been in contact with you at some point or another, and she knew the other avenues for me weren't working, and she's like, maybe you should try this out, you know? And
I don't, there's been a lot of people that really learned about us from our van getting stolen.
it's free publicity, man. You got the van back too. So.
Right. I wish that dude that stole it would have come to get some help. We offered it to him, you know, but he never did. So you've, I think you're applying to work here.
Yeah.
So why did you even want to do that?
I want to affect change, you know, and if I can make it through all that, and I know a lot of people can, man, and if I can be, I've tried to stay as close to this organization as I could since the beginning, you know. That's why I do the meetings. That's why, you know, we play softball in the summer. I'm just, and I've wanted to for a while. You know, I wanted to in the beginning. I was just too scared to say anything right away because I'm like, I'm sure a lot of people say they want to like.
They do.
Right. So I just know I want to be a part of the growth that happens here, and I want to be able to affect change in our community. And if that's working here, then I'm about it, man.
Right on. What's it like facilitating our meetings now? You're running them on Monday.
Yeah.
God, I haven't talked to you in a long time, man.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's great, man. I say it at the meeting, like in my introduction, quite a bit, but it's like, you know, you get through the weekend, and then like everybody says like Mondays are, you know, like the cliche, like, oh, it's Monday, but it's like I can't wait to get through Monday to get here for these meetings, man. They're great. I love being able to interact with people who have been here, new people who are coming here. I know our live stream reaches a lot of people that have never been here, you know, so I'm glad I'm fortunate enough to be a part of that. And
what have you learned by sitting up there facilitating? Has somebody said something that you were like, wow, I never knew that, or I learned something different?
Not in particular, I guess, that I can think off of the top of my head. I learn a lot of what not to do, you know, which I guess is just as valuable as anything else. Which is one of my favorite parts about the meeting, man. I love that it's a safe space for people to come in and feel vulnerable and speak on topics that, you know, are tough things to talk about sometime. And I'm fortunate enough to be up there, to be the one that they're generally speaking at, you know what I mean? And I go up there and I do my best to relay my personal experience, you know, because I think it's like an edge you got to walk, because I don't like speaking on things I haven't experienced. You know what I mean? So who am I to tell you to do something if I've never experienced it, right?
Right.
You know?
Makes sense.
So, and it's opened up a lot of, so I used to have a hard time getting in front of people like that, you know, and talking. And that's one thing that I've obviously gotten over, because I get up there and probably talk too much and forget we're live and say some things I probably shouldn't say sometimes. But
right. I called that guy.
Yeah.
He didn't answer the phone, but I left him a message and said, hey, we heard you. Yeah, we'll fix it. Right. It's all good. Right. What's it like playing softball for Racing for Recovery? You know,
it's man. I didn't know. I forgot how much I liked playing until we started playing here again, you know, and it's great to get with a group of guys out there. And, you know, what's wild is like, we'll get out there and we'll play teams who got like coolers of beer, you know, and they'll be drunk. And then it's like, oh, wait. And then one of them might ask us like, oh, you guys are Racing for Recovery. Oh, I got a cousin that needs to come see you guys. Or, you know, like, it's just cool to be able to get our name out there and show people that, you know, because we got all types of ages on there, you know what I mean? Like, at one point we had like a 22, 23-year-old guy, and then we got Sean, who's, I don't know how old Sean is. He's older than me, 45 or 50 or something.
He's an antique. He's old.
Yeah, he's old. But I think it's great to show people that we can get out there and have some fun without, you know, boozing it up on a Sunday afternoon. Right.
Let's talk about support for a minute, because you've had a ton of it. What does support mean? Who's giving it to you? How have you utilized it?
That's a long list.
Right?
That's a long list. There's, I've received probably, I don't want to say too much support, but people have been in my corner 100%. You know, my mom and Jennifer have been there a lot. And then there's the guys I work for have put up with me for too long, probably, throughout all my things.
Talk about them. Who are they? The church?
Yeah, Cornerstone Church.
Yeah.
Has been a huge part of my life. I've been a member there for a while. I volunteer there on Sundays. And one of the guys that works there, I've known for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. He knew me before I even went away to on vacation, right? And his name's Matt. He's been
he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a godsend for real. Yep. He's put up with me for some reason. I don't know why, but he's been a huge support, man. And I don't know. I can't say I don't know if I'd be here without some of those guys. Yeah. You know, they offered me a place to live when I didn't have one. They offered me a job when I didn't have one, and for some reason didn't fire me when they should have.
And look what, now that we're talking more, I'm remembering some stuff. If you weren't in the condo that Matt graciously gave you, we wouldn't have the 11 condos that we have over there now, right?
That's wild how that worked out, right?
I mean, we have close to 100 people that are doing our lodging stuff, and you were the catalyst for us to expand into those condos.
Well, you're welcome. No, I'm just kidding.
No, exactly.
I don't want to take any credit for that, man. I was just, it was weird how that worked out, right? You guys came over because I had to get you, Bieber, somebody had to look at my house to make sure
it was good enough,
right?
It
was suitable, right?
Yeah.
And then he came over, and then he's like, you got to see this place. So then we went over, and a year and a half later, here we are.
Here we are. That's the coolness of sobriety. I love that stuff where then you don't even realize it's happening at the time.
Right. And you look back on it like, oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, that made sense.
Look how that worked out.
Yeah, right, right. I asked this some people that are on here, but what do you see the future of Racing for Recovery? What do you see us doing? I mean, do you think like that? Like, oh, I bet you we're doing this or that?
I just want to be a part of it.
We are.
Right. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of it. I don't, I think the problem is now is, it's obviously changing, but, our name isn't out there like it should be, you know what I
agree.
mean? We're I guess relatively new as far as having a facility and everything compared to some of the other places around. So I think that has a lot to do with it, but, the sky's the limit, man. Like, we've already done probably a lot of stuff that people said you couldn't do. So
no, we have.
Right.
One of the things that I'm realizing too, it's like I'm like I want to grow, and like we got to slow down.
That's a double-edged sword. That's a double-edged sword.
It is.
Right?
We got to slow down a little bit because it's like I never want to lose the quality that you got. Right. I hear that from a lot of people that were here initially. Were like, yeah, man, you guys are growing. I can't ride with the staff to go do whatever anymore. And it's like we're growing, and I don't want to lose that quality of care with people, right?
Yeah, I think that. Never mind, I won't go there. I think that's one thing that reason why I stuck around. Probably, you know, I was amazed when I came in here, really, because. I remember sitting down with Rachel in there for the first time, right? And just how nice people were, right? So I imagined all the places I've been to before, you walk in and it's like a doctor's office, right? So there's like a big glass window in front, and then they got a whole bunch of chairs where you got to wait, and then there's probably a pharmacy over to the left or something, right? So it's real. So to come here was refreshing, right? So I sit down and Rachel's right here talking to me, and then I had my assessment with AJ, and he's like, what kind of music do you listen to? Da, 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 you know, and I'm like, what? You know, and then to find out, like, you know, I'm talking to people who have been through what I've been through, which meant more to me probably than any type of education you might have, right? You can't learn what it feels like or what it smells like in a drunk tank or what it feels like to go through withdrawals or anything like that. You know, that's a life experience that can't be learned through a video or a textbook, you know? So to be able to talk to people that had real life experience and gotten through some stuff was was huge, man, because that was one of my problems before. Is like you go to somewhere and you have a 21-year-old girl that's just a nursing student or something, and she's trying to tell me how I should stay sober, and it's like, well, you're not even sober. Like, you're gonna tell me to be sober, right? So like the relatability and how much people care here is one main reason I stayed around, man. And not being told what to do all the time, I guess, too. You know?
Yep.
Like, oh, you fucked up. Go back to step one. It's like, oh, damn it. You know?
Yeah, we don't do that.
Right.
What do you, as usual, we're not even talking about addiction stuff
Right.
or whatever, but I do want to ask you this. What have you learned here that's helped you better understand your addiction, that's enabled you to embrace your recovery more?
I guess not living in my past so much, you know. I let it define me for a while, you know, so I felt like I had something to prove, and I guess holding on to that hurt me for a while, you know, holding on to I don't know, I guess I had resentment towards myself, really, that I didn't let go about, and some pain and guilt that I caused other people that was weighing on me, you know, like, and I learned that actions speak louder than words, right? So you can talk a good talk, and if you're not living it, then it doesn't mean squat, right?
Yep.
And that was one thing I changed this time, you know. So when I came back, I never know how to say this right. My last time getting sober, right? So this last time, I stopped talking about it. All right, I just did it, you know, and eventually it became life. You know, I think it starts off as a program, maybe because some people are ordered here or whatever, you know, but for me, it very quickly turned into a lifestyle.
Right on.
But it was by applying things that I learned here, man, and that was one of the things that you have a choice. You know, addiction's not a disease. Relapse is horseshit.
Right.
And live it, you know. And that was one of the things that I know I said it earlier, but people who are that you learn from in the IOPs and the one-on-ones or whatever, these are guys who are living it. You know, they're not just
talking about
they're not just talking about living it or talking about how somebody else lived it. You know, they're speaking of real life experiences, and so I hit the ground running with that, man. I didn't talk about how I was getting sober. I was just doing it. You know what I mean?
I do. And I'm glad you're talking about this, because it's one of the things that I remember you being an IOP, and when you raised your hand, I knew you were not going to give some war story about what you did.
Right.
You were either going to ask a question, or you were going to make a statement about something you were doing.
Or something brilliant, probably.
No, that was me. No, it was actually,
yeah.
All kidding aside, it was brilliant because it was real.
Yeah.
It was honest. It wasn't, that's one of the things, the war stories of addiction. I always wonder, like, why are you talking about this right now? What is that for? Is it, you need to, like you said, you need to prove something of how much you did? You need to validate that for the listener? Is it for yourself?
Right.
Is it both? But where is the action in what you're doing? Because that's what I want people to come to Racing for Recovery for.
Right. And that was one of the things that stood out to me too. Like, so if you've never been an IOP, they give you like a ground rule list, right? Like no open wrappers, or like, no war stories, and use I statements, you know, and not pointing at you. And that was one of the things that stuck out to me right away, because, man, I lived those war stories. I don't need to know, unless you're going to tell me how you got out of it. Like, what did you do to change your life out of it? You know, like, I'll hear all that, but I don't need to know the rest of it, because I've been to the gutter. I've been to all that. You know, I don't need to hear about it. I want to know how you got better, you know? Right. So that was what was so great about those, because you'd get a group of people, and you'd get that many different views on how, or experiences on how, what they're doing to make their life better. And you can, oh, well, that worked for them. I'll try that. I probably tried everything here but yoga.
You didn't do any yoga?
I didn't do any yoga, man.
Yeah?
I still run, and I work out, and full-time dad. And
you're doing it? God, we haven't even talked about and you know what? This is another example of how you just do stuff. I didn't even know you were running.
Yeah.
Like, literally didn't even know. And you did
what you did a 5K, a 10K, and then a half marathon all in a weekend, right?
Yeah, 2
Knee
days.
brace on.
Oh yeah, that was
right.
Yeah, that was fun. It's just so that was another one of those things that I guess talking about is not being very humble, but like I don't I'm not doing it for you.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't come to you and look for acknowledgement on something I did, because then who am I really doing it for? Right? I do it for myself. I don't seek out acknowledgement. If somebody sees me from afar or watches me do something and they want to acknowledge it on their own, like, that's fine. But I'm not going to come to you like, hey man, here's all the good stuff I did. Like, please
put me on a podcast.
Yeah, or talk about it, please, or put me on the spot so I can talk about it.
Well, and it's interesting because I remember I saw the pictures on Facebook of you doing that, and I'm like, Dustin, hey, and you were like, I didn't tell you because I'm doing this for myself, and I'm like, that's exactly why I want to talk about it, right? You know, are you like, do you have any plans to do anything else this year? Are you going to run another half? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'll probably. Emily was trying to talk me into doing the whole marathon for the Glass City, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
I'll do
it's a
half.
lot.
Yeah.
Half is a good distance.
Right, half I'm still having fun.
Yeah.
Right, like I have after the end, I'm still feeling good. I'll do a marathon eventually, but I'm going to do what do they call it? I'm going to go somewhere, like make it a cool one. So I'll go to a different state and make it, like a real cool thing. Thing about it. But yeah, I'll run a whole bunch of races this summer, whether it's 5K, 10K.
Or 5K.
Yeah.
Right.
10K.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
That's good. What, do you have anything you want to ask me? I ask everybody this. I got to stop.
I think I've known you long enough that,
All right. I'm done asking people that because Steven was the last person that asked me some stuff. So I'm done asking that question.
And then what if somebody asks you something and you're like, oh, catch you off guard?
That's all right.
Yeah.
What final words do you want to say to people that are watching this right now? Give them your profound wisdom.
Oh man. Good
God, I can't believe I said that.
Yeah. I think I probably already said it. Like, quit talking about it and do it. That's what got me where I'm at now, is just doing it, man, and doing the next right thing, right? I had to get honest with myself, put some pride aside, and put the work in.
Powerful statement.
Yeah. It's about putting that foundation down and building off of it, right?
I appreciate you doing this, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Until next time, America. Who used to say that? Until next time, America.
I don't know. I was going to say good night, Vietnam, but.
Right? I can't say that. Yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in to these podcasts. Share them, please. Social media. Put it on Racing for Recovery's Facebook page, Instagram, whatever. Share Dustin's story because it will reach somebody else who needs some help. We'll see you next week. Have a good week.